Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. We're going to be continuing with the fiqh series, inshallah ta'ala. We have to talk about today the book, the Shafi'iyya, the madhab of Imam Shafi'i rahimahullah ta'ala. And after that, we're going to make another video about the madhab of Imam Ahmad rahimahullah ta'ala. Then we're going to make a final video on how to study fiqh and like how to start and how to choose a madhab, or why do you choose a specific madhab, or what's the reason behind that, how do you take notes and how do you revise, and all of these things we're going to be speaking about them inshallah. And how do you go from a beginner level to like an intermediate, then to an advanced, all of this is going to take you time and it's going to take you years. It's not like in a day or two. At the end of the day, inshallah ta'ala, it's like these are the keys so you can start learning on your own. Because what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to tell you about my way and like a way that I prefer and the things that benefited me a lot since I started. And that's it. That's pretty much it. I'm not going to make you a faqih in just like 5 videos. After we finish with the fiqh, we're going to move to aqidah, and then we can move on to Arabic, and we can move on to hadith, science, and other topics inshallah ta'ala. And I have not been posting much because I've been really busy. Imam Shafi'i rahimahullah ta'ala, he was one of the most knowledgeable people in fiqh. His name is Abu Abdullah Muhammad ibn Idris ibn al-Abbas ibn Uthman ibn Shafi'in وإليه ينسب القرشي ثم المطلب ويجتمع مع النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم في عبد مناف بن قصي. So that's his name, Muhammad ibn Idris. His nickname is Abu Muhammad, and his lineage meets with the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم in Abd Manaf. In the same exact year that Abu Hanifa, Imam Ahl al-Ra'i, died in, Imam Shafi'i rahimahullah ta'ala was born. And then when he was 2 years old, his mother took him to Mecca. He was an orphan at that time. So he can live among his people because he was from Quraysh. He was an Arab, So at the age of 9 or 7, he memorized the entire Quran, and he was very poor. Subhanallah, his mother was struggling to even pay the teacher money to teach her kid the Quran, because in the Salaf, at the time of the Salaf, they used to literally pay the teachers to teach people the Quran, and that's fine. That's like a joy. And the teacher, he told them, okay, you don't have to pay me, but after you finish memorizing the Quran, you lead people and you start teaching them the Quran. And he was very smart, and you can realize that by the way that he also debated the Ahnaf, and he refuted a lot of their claims. And the ulama, they actually liked him a lot because of this matter. So there was a crazy stuff going on between the Ahnaf and the Shafi'iyya. Allah musta'an. And he was poor, so he did not have much resources. He did not have a lot of papers and documents to write down knowledge on it. So he used to write down on some bones. And sometimes he used to go to certain places, just to find a paper that's written on one of its sides, so he can take this paper and write on the other side, because he was like literally he had no money, and he was very young at that time. And that made him memorize a lot of things fast, because he said about himself, he used to read the page once and he used to memorize it fast, because he might not get a chance to read this paper again or this page again. So that's what helped him a lot in memorizing fast, and he had a great memory, rahimahullah ta'ala. And then he went to the desert so he can live with these people, because they speak a proper Arabic language, so he can learn from them, and he can learn from them poetry and the lineages and the days of the Arab, the stories of the Arab. His teachers were Muslim ibn Khalid al-Zanji al-Makki, أحد فقهاء Mecca. So he was this person, Muslim ibn Khalid rahimahullah ta'ala. He was from the fuqaha of Mecca. He met him, Shafi'i rahimahullah ta'ala met him when he was very young. So he taught him Allah until he became very good at fiqh. And then the Shaykh himself, he gave him permission to give fatwa when he was 15 years old. Shafi'i rahimahullah ta'ala started giving fatwa when he was permitted to give fatwa when he was 15 years old. Then we have Imam Ahl al-Madinah rahimahullah ta'ala, Malik ibn Anas. The famous story that happened with him, we don't have to speak about. If you want to read it, scan the QR code and you can read it inshallah ta'ala. He memorized, Imam Shafi'i rahimahullah ta'ala memorized the Muwatta before even going to Imam Malik. So when Imam Malik rahimahullah ta'ala saw him, he liked him, and he told him, fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and avoid sins, and inshallah you're going to be something great in the future. Then Muhammad ibn al-Hasan Abu Abdullah al-Shaybani, the companion of Abu Hanifa. Shafi'i, when he went to Iraq, he was talking to him, and he was also debating him, and there were tons of things going on. He refuted Muhammad bin Hassan many times before, and then he had a couple debates and arguments, and this is well known in the books. And they used to respect each other, etc. That's a good thing. Well, Imam Sufyan ibn Uyayna rahimahullah ta'ala, we don't have to tell people about him, everyone knows him. So he used to tell people to go and ask Shafi'i rahimahullah ta'ala when he were asked questions, subhan rabbi. And after Muhammad bin Hassan passed away, he went back to Mecca and he started teaching and giving fatwa and writing books, etc. And he was heavily debating Ahlul Ray. So they said يناقش. But if you actually know the matter, there were crazy things going on. والإمام البويطي رحمه الله تعالى was the student of الإمام الشافعي الله يرحمه, and even الشافعي used to respect him and honor him a lot. He used to tell people to also ask البويطي, and he said no, none of my students are better than البويطي. And البويطي رحمه الله تعالى died after he was jailed because he denied that the Quran was created. الله يرحمه ويجعل مثواه الجنة. And then we have Imam al-Muzani rahimahullah ta'ala. He's also the student of Imam al-Shafi'i, and he's the known scholar of Islam. And he is a Shafi'i scholar that supported the madhab a lot. And even Shafi'i rahimahullah ta'ala said, Al-Muzani nasiru madhabi. He's a supporter and he's the ally of my madhab. Yani he supported my madhab and he studied it and he taught it and etc. And he said about Al-Muzani, Shafi'i said about Al-Muzani, لو ناظره الشيطان لغلبه. That if Satan were to debate Al-Muzani, Satan will get baked. Subhanallah. And when Al-Muzani met Shafi'i, he was busy in ilm al-kalam. Al-Muzani, he was busy in ilm al-kalam. So he told the Shafi'i, he asked him a question about kalam. So Shafi'i responded to him and he told him, ask me about something. If you make mistakes in them, I won't say that you became a kafir. You know, سلني عن شيء إن أخطأت به لا أقول كفرت. And then Shafi'i, what he did is, he asked him a question about tahara. He couldn't answer. He asked him another question. He couldn't answer. Like Al-Muzani, with all of his knowledge and all of his fiqh and all of him being a good debater, he lost in front of the Shafi'i, and the Shafi'i humbled him. And that's a good way when someone is busy with something that's not beneficial. It's good also to ask him certain questions to humble him and show him that you're actually leaving what's important and you're going to something that's irrelevant. For example, if a mubtadi' is coming and criticizing Sahih al-Bukhari, tell him what is the name of al-Bukhari himself, they don't know what the name of Imam al-Bukhari rahimahullah ta'ala. So some people might think, oh look, you're acting like you have knowledge more than him, but look, this is a beneficial way. Al-Muzani rahimahullah ta'ala repented from al-kalam and he never got into it again. So that's a good thing to also know. Al-Imam al-Muradi rahimahullah ta'ala. Al-Muradi, he's a known Imam, he's a great Hafiz, and people used to travel to take knowledge from him because he stick with Shafi'i rahimahullah ta'ala for a very long time. As we said in the beginning, the things that made Imam Shafi'i rahimahullah ta'ala great is him living in the desert, because he learned how to speak Arabic, the proper Arabic, al-Fasaha, and he was very great at Nahw, as a lot of scholars actually said. And the thing that made him unique, rahimahullah ta'ala, is that he met the scholars of Islam that were actually scholars, like Imam Malik, rahimahullah ta'ala, and others. And he learned the madhab of Imam Malik, and he also learned the madhab of Ahlul Medina. And after that, he also learned the madhab of Al-Ahnaf, and he debated them and he criticized them. And he also criticized Imam Malik in a lot of opinions. Not like him personally, just like the opinions. And he also used to say that Al-Layth bin Sa'd, is more knowledgeable in fiqh than Malik. ولكن أصحابه لم يقوموا به. That his companions did not write down and they did not document his statements and his opinions. But Malik's companions, i.e. students, they did that. And he also spent a lot of money on the books of Muhammad bin Hassan, and he read it and he understood it. Then he wrote down like a refutation for a lot of his works. And the famous statement that the book, he read one of the books, it had like 20 pages. 80 of them contradicted the Quran and Sunnah, because we know the Ahnaf, they were heavy on Ar-Ra'i. And I'm gonna say this, one of the things that actually made him unique is him being a good debater. Usually a lot of people they sway towards those who debate good, because they can represent themselves, they can defend their arguments, and being a good debater is a good thing, and that's what made him famous, by the way. And that's why I see it sometimes it's actually beneficial for a student of knowledge to engage in some debates, like maybe a debate or two a year, or maybe a debate every year, if it's necessary, of course. And like if there's benefits behind it, or refuting some people or some of the claims or some of the filthy accusations against the Sunnah, the Prophet, or the Quran, and refuting others in general. That's a good thing. Don't just limit yourself to like learning fiqh only or learning aqidah only. No, learn about all of the religion of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and also help others and benefit others. And at the same time, do not exaggerate. Don't debate every day or every week or every hour, Khalas, once or twice a year, that's more than enough. And then the usul of Imam Shafi'i rahimahullah ta'ala, the Quran and the Sunnah that's authenticated, the authentic Sunnah. And the sunnah according to Imam Shafi'i is like the known sunnah that we also know, is like whatever the Prophet ﷺ said or did or he witnessed and he did not correct. والهم وهذا الأخير لم يذكره الأصوليين لكن الشافعي استعمله في الاستدلال. I'm not going to delve into that. And then الإجماع, the ijma' of the companion specifically, not the ijma' of Ahl al-Madinah. He does not care about the ijma' of Ahl al-Madinah because that's a specific ijma'. And then we have قول الصحابي. So the statement of a companion, if a companion said a thing or he gave a specific fatwa, is it a hujjah or not a hujjah? Should it be followed and not, we should not abandon it and only follow it? Or it could be, we could follow something else. He had two opinions. The Al-Qadim is before him going to Egypt, and Al-Jadid is after him going to Egypt. أنه حجة or إنه حجة. That means the statement of a Sahabi is a hujjah, and that was in his old opinion before he went to Egypt. But after he went to Egypt, now he changed his opinion, and he still had two opinions in the Jadid. One agrees with the old, that means it's a hujjah, and the other statement that's not a hujjah. And then if the Sahaba disagreed upon something, he chooses from their statements, because one Sahabi is not hujjah over the other. So he chooses what a Sahabi says or the closest opinion to the Quran and Sunnah from any statement of any Sahabi. And finally, the Qiyas. And the Qiyas is a well-known thing that all of the scholars have used, but not the Qiyas of the Ahnaf, because the Qiyas of the Ahnaf is literally goes against the Sunnah and the Quran. So the things that made this madhab unique is him writing his own book, and him studying under a lot of companions and the ashab of Malik and others, and him learning about their position. So he's educated on different aqwal and different madhab, and also him reviewing his usul and furu' too much. And he also wrote down a book, his famous book Al-Umm, and no scholar of Islam wrote down his own fiqh book except him, from the four known ai'. And for the istilahat, go ahead and read them yourself if you care about them. I don't want to waste much time more about these things. The video is already long enough. Here just the names of the books and the things regarding the books, the scholars who wrote about the fiqh itself, and the like Al-Rafi' and Nawawi, they are the top tier scholars of the Shafi'iyya. And the madhab of Imam Shafi'i rahimahullah ta'ala was widely spread mostly in Masr, Iraq, Egypt, Sham, Damascus, Syria, and Yemen, and Somalia, etc. And because that, Imam Shafi'i rahimahullah ta'ala traveled a lot, and he got a lot of support from the kings, and they built certain schools for him after he passed away, like Nizam al-Mulk. His madhab was the main madhab in the country, and the mufti of the madhab was a Shafi'i, so that made a lot of people actually follow that madhab. تولي الشافعي رئاسة الأزهر, because a lot of the Shafi'i, they took on the Azhar nowadays, and that's what made a lot of people in Egypt right now even Shafi'iyya. And surprisingly, a lot of the Ash'ari are also Shafi'iyya, like Al-Razi. And subhanallah, Al-Razi, who was criticizing a lot of people except the Imam Shafi'i. He's not, from the Salaf, by the way, he was not brave enough to criticize the Imam Shafi'i on specific matters of Aqidah. Wallahu al-musta'an. So that's what I got today. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make it easy for all of us. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.